to see you all. And I'm Venkatesh from GroCurv.com. We're a marketplace for marketing and sales services. Lovely to have our audience with us this morning. As I introduced you, my friend and a fantastic business coach, Vishal. Vishal has been the CEO and chief coach, business coach at EMBARK. Before that, Vishal has had a very nice career of about 20 years. He's also from a strong family business background, which has been in business over 100 years. And therefore, as I introduced you to him, I will stress upon the fact that he bridges two worlds very well, a traditional family business world and a corporate world, bringing insights which are both practical, profound, and powerful from both these states. And as he talks about how you can find nuggets of revenue in these times from your existing customers, from your existing businesses, you will find that these are really practical tips that he's going to talk about, and that's what I like most when I interact with him. So without further ado, I'd like Vishal to take over the stage. A little background on yourself, Vishal, and then let's get into the session. The audience is really waiting. Thank you very much, Vishal. Have a lovely session.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Venkat, for that extremely generous introduction. And just like to add to what Venkat has said. Yes, I have had a unique opportunity to have had a combination of my work experience from my 100-year-old family business, which is into retail apparel as well as pharmaceutical distribution. So I worked for 10 years with my family business, and then I branched out into seeking opportunities in the corporate world. And I was fortunate enough to work for a period of over a decade with the poster boy of India's growth story at that point, the telecom industry. And yeah, I mean, that's where I learned a lot. And post 2013, and I must just say that I was very fortunate, and I'm sure Venkat will agree that I exited telecom just about at the right time. I wouldn't say that the telecom industry is what it used to be. Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, post 2013 is when I started getting interested in this concept of business coaching, because I understood having seen both the flavors of having worked with a traditional family business, a century old, and a new age business like telecom. And so I understood that there was a gap, and that's what interested me in this concept called business coaching, which is very new to a country like India, but I must say that it is extremely needed. Anyways, I'm not here to try and sell business coaching per se to you, but this is just to give you an understanding of how I got into business coaching. So since 2013, I've been, apart from a stint with Tech Mahindra, where I was the general manager for strategy for close to 2 years, I have been pretty much heavily engaged in education and business education. And in my last assignment, I was the CEO of an educational startup, which was also into entrepreneurship. And very recently, myself and my co-founder Akanksha have embarked on this journey of business coaching through EMBARK Business Coaching. So anyways, the reason I shared a small background about myself is so that you are not left wondering who is this Johnny that Venkat has actually put up to speak to you on a Saturday morning. All right, and yeah, so let's just.
Johnny तो बहुत बड़ी चीज बोल गए. People who have interacted with you never forget their interactions. And when I was at that school, Midas, last year, the feedback from the students was phenomenal. So Vishal, I would really suggest humility is one thing, but the audience here is really in for a fantastic session.
Thank you so much again, Venkat. And I hope I'm able to live up to all the good things that you have said and the expectations of the audience today. So yeah, without any further delay, I shall begin. Let's begin today's interaction. I'm going to share my screen. All right. I hope everybody can see the screen. Akanksha, I would request if you can just keep a tab on the chat, because in a slideshow mode, maybe I cannot access the chat at the same time. So if there is something that needs to be brought to my attention, please do that. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. So today's topic, one which is very, very relevant. How can we grow our business from new and existing clients? Primarily, we are going to discuss elements of sales and a little more than just that. But before we begin, I would just like to share that, to be very honest, webinars is not something that I am particularly fond of. And this lockdown has actually given us, there have been so many webinars of all kinds that there is some kind of a webinar fatigue that has crept into people, and people are just attending webinars left, right, and center. Speakers are taking webinars left, right, and center. So I just thought that we would want today's session to be a little different and very, very productive for each one of you, which is why I just would like to share some rules of engagement. Just give me a second. Yeah. So please give me your undivided attention, and I've underlined undivided. Reason being, there is no way I can actually, typically I'm used to taking a workshop where I can actually catch somebody who's not paying attention and get their attention back, but that's not possible in a webinar. I can assure you that it's extremely scary to be conducting a webinar where I'm just speaking to a screen. So please, my sincere request, so that these 90 minutes that we are going to spend together is productive, I need your undivided attention. Importantly, I am not here to give you a lecture. I am not here to have a monologue with you. I'm only going to share whatever I have learned over these 25 years of experience with each one of you. I'm not here to try and teach per se. Of course, there will be some concepts that we will discuss. But most importantly, my sincere request is try and correlate this to your business. Otherwise, this will only become a knowledge session. And trust me, we need much more than knowledge to be able to thrive in today's day and age. Please make a note of all actionables you can execute. So whatever I would want you to take back from this session, I will feel that I conducted a good session which was worthwhile only when I can give you something that you can take back and execute back in your business. And I can assure you that I have attempted and tried my level best to design it in a manner that we can give you actionables. Very important, please engage with this discussion. Yes, there are limitations that a webinar has, but there are reaction icons and the chat box is there, which I would really urge each one of you to use generously. I will be asking you a lot of questions. So apart from sharing whatever I have, see, for me to be able to understand, the challenges that you are facing, and for me to be able to make this productive, I will be asking you a lot of questions, which I would sincerely request. This is not a classroom learning per se. This is a business discussion. It's a workshop. That's exactly why we call it a workshop. And I would request you to kindly answer all the questions honestly. I am not seeking the right answer. Please do not try to give me what is the right answer. Give me what is the true answer. See, until and unless we do that, that will be the best starting point for us to be able to, get actionables and make a difference to the business. So these are the basic rules of engagement. I would really appreciate if all of you kind of follow this. Right. So to begin, yes, like Venkatesh said, these times are such where this becomes a very relevant topic, and I couldn't agree more. But this is a quote that I was really fascinated by, and I read this right at the beginning. I had seen it posted on LinkedIn by somebody when the coronavirus hit us. Never let a good crisis go to waste, and said by none other than Winston Churchill. And mind you, this is nothing short of a crisis, or maybe it's the kind of a crisis that comes once in a century. And but as history has shown us, every crisis which is riddled with problems is also riddled with opportunities. There are enough opportunities for the people who are willing to recognize and act upon those opportunities. So my effort, at least in this period where I've been interacting with scores of business owners, is to try and make everybody see that yes, there is a crisis. Yes, we must recognize it, but at the same time, let us not lose sight of the fact that this crisis is also going to present us with very unique opportunities that no normal time will provide you. Just as we have problems that you don't encounter in normal times, similarly, there are going to be opportunities that you will not find in normal times. So let's keep that at the back of the mind as we progress into our discussion. Okay, so first question for you all. Please tell me what were your three biggest business problems pre-corona. So before the corona crisis hit, I'm sure all of you have been running, successful businesses and have been facing a lot of challenges. Then what were your three biggest problems pre-corona? And my request is, can you just type them out in your chat box? And as I said, I want to remind you, kindly be as honest as you can. Please type out what were your three biggest problems pre-corona, so I can have a look at it, and then we can, address some of these problems and see what those problems are. Come on. Yes, I'm waiting for the chat box to fill up so that we can see. first answer is always difficult to get, isn't it? People are very hesitant to participate initially. If this was a workshop, probably I would have given away some chocolates, but there are none that I can do online. So yeah. All right, reaching the target audience, cash flow, productivity, payments, social media competition, mindset of the client. Very good, very good. Come on, I want more participants to share their problems. Very interesting points. Cash flow, which is financial, productivity, which is team, reaching the right audience, marketing, payments, cash flow, again, finance, social media, digital, mindset, very, very generic. Anything else that anybody would like to add apart from this? But these are good. These are valid problems that all of you have raised. So problems like have been mentioned pretty much across all domains, right? You've said there have been problems with finance, managing your cash flows and payments, problems with marketing, how can I reach the right customer, problems with team, how can I make my people more productive or myself more productive. All these problems existed, and we were I know this firsthand because I've been dealing with my coaching clients much before Corona hit. And whenever I would interact with people post Corona, and they would say, "Sir, Corona ने तो बहुत बुरी तरह business को hit कर दिया ये वो." And then when I would probe further and ask them, कि, "Okay, boss, what is the real problem that you are talking about?" And they would give me the answers कि, "Sir, sales ही नहीं हो रहे हैं." I said, "दुकान बंद है, sale कैसे होगा? Right now, it's an exceptional period. Sir, payment nahi aa raha. Of course, that will get rectified." The problems they were citing were not new. Similarly, the problems that you have cited and the problems that we are facing today are not so new. So there's this big talk about everything is going to change and there's a new normal, which is to some extent true. But my honest submission to this audience is that please, सारी चीजों का बिल कोरोना के नाम पे मत काटिए. The problems that you are referring to and thinking that are because of Corona are not necessarily because of Corona. Try and look back at the way you were running your business before, and you will probably appreciate what I am saying. That a lot of these problems existed much before Corona hit us. In fact, what Corona has actually done is put a spotlight. It has amplified and magnified the problems that we as business owners probably neglected. And we thought कि चलो ये कर लेंगे बाद में. Corona has actually forced us. So actually, if you ask me, to a great extent, for a lot of businesses, Corona is a blessing in disguise because it has forced you to look at your business in a manner that you would have otherwise not looked about. I just want, you may agree with what I'm saying. You may have a difference of opinion. If you have a difference of opinion, feel free to put it in the chat box. We will have a discussion around it. But this is something that I have realized people doing. And see, as business owners, typically, running a business is not an easy task. Trust me, I know that in the last 3 months. And of course, from my 10-year experience. So there are times when we actually would like to attribute our problems to other things. So we try and look outside rather than look within. It is a natural phenomenon. My only request to you is that please try and isolate the problems that you are facing, which are purely because of Corona. And there are some businesses who have really been badly hit, which I completely appreciate. But a majority of the businesses and the majority of the problems that we are talking about are not because of Corona. They have been existing to a great extent in our businesses before. Only thing that has happened now, they've gotten magnified and amplified because of Corona coming in. So what is the big question now on everyone's minds? What will happen post-Corona or during Corona? How do we ensure our businesses get out of this? So there are a lot of businesses struggling for survival. There are a lot of businesses who are actually have their growth plans hit. Question for you. Do you think that you will have to completely change the way you have been doing business post-Corona? Come on. I would want you to please once again share in the chat box. Just write yes or no. Do you think you will have to completely change the way you have been doing business post-Corona? Just say yes or no in the chat box, please. Yes. Good. No. All right. So we have got yeses and we have got nos. Wonderful. More yeses than nos. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Wonderful. Do I have the answer to this? No. Please understand, there are a lot of questions that I'm going to raise for which I cannot claim to have the answer. I'll be honestly lying to you if I can answer this question. Trust me, nobody in the world can answer this question today. But I still have a take. I would still like to share with you what I think from what I have observed so far. See, there are some things that are going to change permanently. For example, work from home and online education has become a reality. Mind you, having said this, this is only going to change permanently to a certain extent, and it will vary from industry to industry. For example, the IT industry, we have some big giants who have already announced that work from home is going to become an eventuality. They have announced to their employees that work from home forever is also a possibility for you. And there are some industries where it will become partial. But one thing is for sure, work from home is going to become a part and parcel of everyone's lives. And it may just seem that, okay, this is only true or relevant to employees. No. Please understand, as business owners, this is going to trickle down to your businesses. This is going to have an impact on the way real estate works. If big organizations, if big IT organizations reduce their real estate, just imagine the impact it's going to have on the sector. The way homes, residential homes are going to get designed in the future, we'll have to make note of this work from home. We'll have to have a work from home space, just like we have a 2 BHK and a 3 BHK. Online education, and trust me, I'm very closely associated with this. Like I said, I would hate doing webinars. The last 7 months, we've been doing our entire business online. My entire teaching has happened online. My entire coaching has happened online, for which I've also personally was very reluctant to do. But trust me, it is not only possible, but it is also possible to do far better than you can sometimes do offline. Plus, your market explodes. You no longer need to be limited to a geography. The world becomes your market. So these are some things that will change permanently. Why am I sharing this with you, friends? You need to figure out for your business what is going to change permanently. Some things will change temporarily. For example, only online delivery of food is what we are doing right now. Still restaurants are closed. So the online delivery, Zomato says, you know what? We have already reached our online delivery levels of pre-corona. Arey, my friend, you have reached that level because today people are not going out. It's too early to celebrate. The day restaurants open, I'm sure you're with me on this. We are going to, at least if Corona settles down even to a certain extent, we are all going to rush back to our favorite restaurants or our favorite malls or stores. Similarly with apparel and lifestyle products, right? So the Amazon sale or the Flipkart Big Billion Day really had remarkable results. Of course, right now they will, because our brick and mortar life currently is completely disrupted. So this is a temporary change. Again, the point I'm trying to share with you is that please note what is going to change temporarily in your business. And finally, some things are not going to change at all. Can we ever substitute outdoor sports or the thrill of watching a live event and travel? I know travel is one of the worst hit industries. I know F&B is one of the worst hit industries. Events are one of the worst hit industries. But yes, they are going to have to live through this difficult time and try and innovate and try to keep themselves afloat. But trust me, once things normalize, which they will, these industries are not going to die out. Today, there are virtual events that we are talking about, correct? Today, IPL is being watched just on the TV screen at empty stands. And trust me, people who have been cricket fanatics or IPL fanatics really can make out the difference. And we are waiting for the next IPL when we'll be able to see a 1 lakh audience screaming and shouting as fans in the stands. Those things are not going to change. Once again, I repeat, the takeaway for each business owner from this slide is to figure out, the reason I'm sharing this with you is, please for your own business, make note of what is it that is going to change permanently, what is it that is going to change temporarily, and what is it that is not going to change at all. This will help you plan for your future. Now we come to our topic for today, which is sales management. And yeah, this is one of my favorite pictures which I'll show. And any business owner would love their sales team to depict this wonderful, awesome shark who is on the prowl all the time and trying to nibble up customers as and when they come along. So yeah, this is your sales guy, this is your customers, and this is how today what we're going to try and figure out is, how can we make ourselves or our sales teams into this shark? What makes a top performer in sales? It is a question for you, which I am going to run in the form of a poll, which each of you will be able to answer. So it's a pretty simple question, and I don't want you to think too much. Please instinctively answer of what you believe is right. What I would want you to do in your, this is not going to be in the form of a poll, because it is going to be a ranking. You'll have to write this in your chat box. Right. So first thing is creativity, tenacity. Just to explain what tenacity means for somebody who might not understand is, that never give up attitude, that bullheadedness that you would want in a sales guy. Integrity. Integrity is honesty, curiosity, asking a lot of questions, passion, really passionate about the product or the service they are selling, and empathy, ability to think from the customer's perspective. So good. Time for you to answer. Please pick up, get into your chat box, and please rank in order of importance. So whichever you feel is the most important trait that you need in your sales guy, please write first and in that order, starting with the first and with the least important. Yes, please get onto your chat boxes, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I would want you to rank them in order of importance as you feel. Yes, I would request that you will need to write all, not just one. Okay, so somebody has mentioned, Arpit has mentioned tenacity. So I would want you to mention all and then, press the enter button. Okay, integrity. Yeah, this is a short form. Integrity, empathy. CE would be, okay. I would once again request my audience to please mention all of them. You guys are mentioning what you think is most important. That's not enough. I would just want you to mention all of them. You can write short forms. You can write the first 3 letters if you want. CRETEN, INT. I understand typing can be a bore sometimes, isn't it? But please, I would really appreciate if you can mention what you feel about these things. Okay, I'm going to give it 30 seconds. Good, good. I see the answers coming in now. Very good. A lot of you feel tenacity. Tenacity is important. You want them to be the shark, which is absolutely understandable. Somebody says creativity is important. Okay. Come on, come on. Last 30 seconds. Good. Integrity, empathy, curiosity. All right, all right. Great. We have got. Okay. One more answer coming in, which is tenacity. All right. A lot of us feel tenacity is important, and a lot of us feel passion, creativity is important. All right. So it's from one of my favorite movies, Band Baja Barat. And I could not think of a better clip to show you to try and help you understand. And this is not just a research that I'm going to share with you. This is also true for from my own personal experience of the best salespeople that I have seen. So once again, I want you to share in the chat box. Ranveer Singh demonstrated which of the traits that I shared with you most? What do you think? Which is the trait that I shared with you that you saw Ranveer Singh demonstrate? Can you please type in the chat box what you think? Creativity, all right? Come on, guys. Which is the trait you think that was demonstrated by Ranveer Singh in the video that we just saw? Did you see tenacity in play? Was he tenacious? Was he trying to be okay? Arpit actually thinks that it was tenacious. Do you actually believe that was tenacious? Was he aggressive? Because there was a clear objection that was raised by the father that, you're a startup. Why should we trust you? And he had pretty much lost the deal. Yes, empathy. Right, he asked questions. So there was empathy, there was curiosity. Absolutely correct. So, whereas we would all like to believe that somebody says all the traits were there. You're right. But which was the one that was predominant? Just give me a second. Passion, creativity, we have all kinds of answers. First, and this is proved, the best salespeople are the ones who display the maximum empathy. Please keep this in mind, and this is the fact. What you saw in that also was the the ability to think like a customer, and the very fact that he had done his research and he knew the kind of customer he was going to meet is why he was able to build that rapport. Sorry, there's some problem with the slideshow. Yeah. Second, integrity. What was required at that stage to close the deal was his ability to build the trust, build interest. A lot of people said passion is important, correct. Creativity, building the right solution. Actually, creativity is not topmost in this case, because the solution they'd already liked, but they were still not wanting to give them that business. It was not just about the solution. Curiosity builds understanding for the negotiation, and tenacity is final. So although we may think that you need your sales guy to be like a shark, please think again, because as a customer, what is valued most is empathy, integrity, and passion. These are the top three elements that will help you drive your sales. Now, coming to how has the sales strategy evolved over years, and please try and correlate that even to the situation that we are going through today. So first, there was an era of product selling, and when I say first, it does not mean that it is prevalent, not prevalent today. I'm just trying to help you understand the mindset while selling, and please try and correlate how you are trying to sell in your business today. So what is product selling? And if you go down, the nature of the sales conversation, if you're selling a product, revolves around features and benefits. And trust me, more than 50% of business owners today that I interact with, especially in the SME segment, are still in the era of product selling, where they are constantly trying to sell features and benefits. How does a sales rep, what is a sales rep profile in a product selling kind of an era? You're a talking brochure. So as soon as somebody asks you, you rattle out features and benefits. And when do you engage with the customer? When the customer is in a buying situation, only when he's assessing options. That's when you touch base with the customer. The reason I'm giving you this insight into these three things is because that is the differentiator. Look at this example. This is a classic example of a product being tried to be sold. See, these are the features, all the elements which go with product selling. And I'm taking an example which I'm going to take forward. Second was the era of solution selling. Now, what is the difference between product and solution? Instead of talking feature and benefits, you start asking more questions to the customer to try and understand. See, this is where empathy and curiosity comes in. What is the profile of a sales rep? Pretty much like an interrogator who's always trying to ask questions to understand the customer better. And when do you engage with the customer? Not when they are in a purchase situation, but when they have identified the need. Now look at that same brand, Nike, and you see the difference in the communication from a product-driven communication to a solution-oriented communication, where they're not necessarily just talking about the features of their shoe. They're going a step ahead, where they are trying to look at the need for the customer and trying to tap into that need and position their brand accordingly. And you'll be able to see a remarkable difference in the way you as a customer perceive these two pieces of communication. The brand perception completely changes. The way you are trying to sell completely changes. This is extremely important. This is not just academic or theoretical, my friends. This is an approach that you need to adopt. And finally, insights selling. Here, what is the nature of the conversation? You lead with an insight. What is the profile of the sales guy? He's a challenger, which means you have not even identified the need for that product. And here is somebody who's trying to tell you, you know what, there is a need that you possibly have not yet identified, and there's a need for you to change the way you are currently buying. And when do you engage with the customer? When the customer is actually learning. There's no need identified. And trust me, insight selling is one of the most powerful ways, especially to win over competition customers. Whenever you are trying to win over some of the best competition customers, a lot of times I speak to family business owners and then I tell them, okay, this market, yahan to ye bahut strong hai. We tend to kind of give up on some of the best customers in the competition that the competition has, which is where insight selling comes into play. So like you see, from talking about the shoe to coming into running and to moving one step ahead and talking about fitness is how you can see the change in the way the brand has positioned itself from a product perspective to an insights perspective. Again, my sincere request to all the audience members, the business owners, please try and figure out what is the kind of selling that you are indulging in. And please be honest. So if you are still in the product selling era, then please understand that as customers today are a very evolved a lot. They are exposed to some of the world's best brands. So continuing to just talk about features and benefits is not really going to get you results. All right. And one of the biggest things or the biggest drawbacks of just product feature selling is that you end up only into a price war. The only reason the customer buys from you is because you are the cheapest. And trust me, those are the worst kind of customers you want. But they are not to blame. It is your sales strategy to blame because you have only been talking about features. Please try and get to understand your customers better so that you can come up with insights that you can share with them and create needs. And that's when they will be able to see the value that you are able to add. Now, this was just a background to how sales and sales strategies have evolved. Question for the audience: how do you acquire your customers today? Yes, once again, can you please go back to your chat box and tell me, how do you acquire your customers today? Is it primarily through your word of mouth, through your references? Yes, I can understand primarily our SME businesses are growing their business through word of mouth, correct? Any other way? Anybody else is actually working on acquiring customers? Please share. Cold calling, interesting. Very interesting. So you are indulging in cold calling. That is very nice to know. Anything else that you think you're trying? Social media, very good. Very good. Instagram, yes. Online, yes. Absolutely, absolutely right. So that's great. But if I were to probably try and look at by and large whatever I have interacted and I have spoken to business owners even during this lockdown and this Corona crisis, we are primarily acquiring our customers through word of mouth. And please park that thought. We are going to discuss that later. Second question. Have you, and be honest with this, have you set yourself a sales target for the year, quarter or month? And I don't want you to refer to just the Corona period. As a practice, as a business owner, do you actually set a sales target? And I'm not saying, by target, I don't mean ambition. There's a difference. That हाँ मुझे crore से 5 crore करना है. That's an ambition. That's not really a target. Good. I see a lot of people who are saying, yes, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. There are some people who are honest and also are saying no. Correct. Again, by and large, whatever we have, no practice followed, but we know that we have to be over the cost. So yeah, that's the factual reality. That one of the struggles that a lot of businesses have, कि boss at least cost तो पहले cover कर लेते हैं, so that we are not in a situation where we have to make payments. And that is a factual reality. So there is even if there are targets, there is no structured mechanism to have those targets. Give me a second. So what should the answers to this question be? How do we acquire our customers cannot be, something that is left like the rain forecast, कि बॉस पता नहीं आएंगे तो अच्छा है, नहीं आएंगे तो पता नहीं कैसे लाना है. We have to build an effective sales process by which you should be able to actually forecast what is the kind of customers you are going to acquire. And please understand, for those of you who say that we have not set targets, it's actually very good news, because if you have reached so far without even setting targets, which means by setting targets, you are only going to be able to grow further. How can you effectively set targets? Is by indulging in effective goal setting for building up sales. And that is going to be the moot point of our discussion today. Now we'll come to the first part. The effective sales processes are built in two manners. The first one, which we call farming. I'm sure a lot of you might be acquainted with this term. For those of you who are not acquainted, this is just a brief explanation of what farming is. See, customer acquisition happens through farming primarily to two routes. First, when your existing customers keep giving repeat business to you. And this is the lifeblood of all small and medium enterprises, because we have a set of loyal customers through whom we are acquiring business, and we are constantly in that process of serving those customers. Second, when a customer gets new customers through word of mouth, and when I asked you which is your primary source, a lot of you actually said references and word of mouth, which is again very true to small and medium business owners, because they have a very good loyal set of customers through whom they get references. But the primary point to remember here is that these references, and now if I were to ask, if we were in a classroom, probably I would have asked somebody to share an experience of how they get a reference, but let me share that with you in this scenario. Typically what happens is you have a customer who's really happy with you, and one day you finally get a call from one person saying that, so and so, or if your customer has actually recommended your service to me, and I would like to, avail your product or services. And that's how our word of mouth goes. I'm sure I'm right when I say this. That is not what we are talking about. This is what you're doing, but that is not how you have to actually drive your references. This above source of customer acquisition is known as farming. Farming is one of the most potent and cost effective means. Absolutely correct. We have to focus on farming, but how do we focus on farming? Is this what you are doing enough? This is the point I'm talking about. Most SMEs today focus solely on farming. There are two problems. One problem is that your entire business, your entire revenues are dependent only on these two: existing customer revenue and the new customer revenue coming from word of mouth. That too in a reactive manner. That too not in a structured manner. Now I hope you're able to see why there is a struggle to acquire new customers, because your sole source of new customer acquisition is depending on these two factors. Key aspects to how can we actually, conduct farming in a very scientific manner and a very disciplined manner is what I call the triple R approach. R, retain. First step you have to focus on is, how am I retaining my existing customers? I am sure if a lot of you were to go back to your last 3 years customer databases, first of all, there are so many organizations where I've seen that they don't even maintain customer database. I hope you people are maintaining. If not, please begin, because otherwise you will never be able to know which customers you have been able to retain 3 years back. So if you go back to your 3 years customer back database, you would have realized there have been customers that you have lost along the way. And many a times, because of the new customers that we are getting in through references, we don't really realize that we are filling in a bucket which has a hole. And which is why the level of water in your bucket remains only there. It becomes stagnant. It doesn't really grow. Because even if you're putting in more water, if there is a hole, which means you're not able to retain your existing customer, you're not going to be able to grow that water in the bucket. So that's the first thing in the farming approach. First focus has to be, okay, if I've got 100, 200, 500 existing customers, how do I retain? Second, how can I get additional revenue from the same customers? So if your customer is buying a product from you or a service from you, either increase that same product revenue or indulge in some element of cross-selling if you're dealing in multiple products. And typically this also is happening in your businesses, but once again, it happens reactively. You've never really sat down with your customer list. If you have, it's great, but most people have not, where you actually say that, okay, from this customer, this is my current revenue by selling these 3 products. How can I sell 2 more products to this customer? Which are the 2 more products? Or how can I increase the sale for these 3 existing products? That is revenue enhancement. And third is reference generation. And the last word is very important: reference generation proactively, not when the customer calls you. Please don't count that. What is your effort in generating references? And let me share with you whatever I'm sharing with you, whatever I'm explaining to you today as far as the sales processes goes, is not straight out of any book. Nothing that I'm sharing with you is something that I have not worked on either personally or with my clients and seen immense success. This might seem like a very basic and a very innocuous kind of simple thing that I'm sharing with you, but trust me, the power that this can have. I have actually seen my clients double their revenue. Yes, you heard that right. Double their revenue by simply engaging in this triple R formula without spending a single rupee. Double their revenue without spending a single rupee can actually be done if these 3 steps are followed in a disciplined, scientific, and persistent method. The benefits can be from minimum 35% to in excess of 100% growth, which is why I would like to share the first thing, that if we want to move towards, securing our growth in terms of revenues, is to focus on farming. Any questions that you might have on farming, please note, and if you want, you can put them in the chat box. We will address them at the end of the session. But it is extremely important that you take this back with you post the webinar, evaluate where you are in your business as far as farming goes. If not, please take corrective action. Second one is hunting. And as the name suggests, is when you proactively go out to acquire new customers. Mind you, when I say new customers, these are customers who don't know you. This would involve generating awareness about your brand or your company through various sources, which means whether it is, like you said, social media, whether it is print advertisement, whether it is TVCs, depending upon the nature of your business, or even just doing a simple pamphleting activity through newspapers, whatever you need to do to generate awareness. Thereafter, you need to take the customer through the sales funnel to ensure closure. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of what the sales funnel is, but again, I have seen large organizations. In fact, I just had a session with one of my clients who's into the channel management space and has a very sizable turnover in excess of 50 crores. And when we looked at the sales funnel, we realized they were not tracking it at all, and there was so much to get, value to be extracted from the existing set of customers and to acquire new customers just by focusing on the sales funnel. This process is known as hunting. Mind you, hunting is far more difficult compared to farming. Why? Because it requires much more effort and investment. And what happens with an SME or a business owner who has actually reached a particular scale and is completely engaged in the day-to-day operations is, one, they don't have time to do any hunting because this requires time. Somebody mentioned you are doing cold calling to acquire new customers. You will realize that after every 100 cold calls, your conversion ratios can be as bad as 1% to 5%. If you're at 5%, you're probably doing an industry best. 95 people are not going to, even look at you. That's the fact. But does that mean we should not do it? Absolutely not. Why? Because what you hunt today is only what you can farm tomorrow. Please understand, if you've taken your business to a certain level and you're dealing with a certain set of customers today, is only possible today because at some point in the beginning when you started your business, you indulged in very aggressive hunting. See, somewhere along the line, you stopped hunting, and there is also a strong reluctance that I see from business owners to actually build a business development or a sales team. Even if not a team, and if you have to hire one person, there's a strong reluctance कि अरे नहीं वो तो आएगा सैलरी चली जाएगी 6 6 महीने चले जाते हैं कुछ काम नहीं करते. All kind of problems are cited which may be valid, but the solution is to solve those problems, not to do away with hunting. Please think back on your businesses and your growth and ask yourselves, how many new customers did you proactively go and hunt in these last 12 months? And you will probably see why one of the reasons of your stagnation of growth or maybe decline in your business is the fact that you have not hunted as effectively as you should have. This is the reason. If there's no focus on hunting, there will never be a steady inflow of new customers. Because with farming, there is only a certain amount of predictability that you can bring. If you do not dig a new well, you're not going to be able to extract more water. You can only predict if you are actually, your flow of customers can be kept steady if there is a constant focus on both hunting and farming. Now to explain the efficiency of your sales funnel. So I'm sure a lot of you look at your sales funnel. There are some key tenets that I would like to highlight of how you're supposed to look at your sales funnel. And mind you, I'm aware that we have a majority of B2B business owners today and also a combination of some B2C business owners. I shall explain the relevance of the funnel for both. So something what is called prospecting is where you look at the kind of customers that you would want to target, then you qualify them and you try and seek references for those prospects or you do a cold call. The third stage is to line up a meeting, and fourth stage is negotiating with those customers, and fifth stage is closure. So these are broadly the stages depending upon the nature of your business. I mean, for some businesses, meeting and negotiating might be happening in the same stage. No problem. Don't worry about that. This is just to give you an idea of how the hunting process works from identifying a customer to securing the business. Now, let me give you an example. Suppose you have 100 prospects. How does this funnel work? Out of 100, you might be able to get references for 30. 70, you might need to cold call. Out of those references and cold calls, eventually your numbers will be 25 and 40. How many reach the negotiating table? Out of the 65, 30 reach the negotiating table. And out of the 30 that reach the negotiating table, you're able to close 20, which means the efficiency of this sales funnel is 20%. Now, my question to the audience is, one, do you even look at these stages of the sales funnel? If the answer is yes. Second, are you tracking the efficiency of the sales funnel? If your answer is yes, Then third question is, what steps are you taking to improve the performance of the funnel at each of these stages? So there is an approach that you have to use even in your B2B businesses to look at improving the sales funnel. If just by tracking the sales funnel is not enough, creation of a sales funnel is not enough. All right. Now, the other myth that is associated with the sales funnel is people focus on closing. That how many people can I close? And the best sales guy is supposed to be the one who closes effectively, which is why all of you felt that tenacity is very important as a skill, because tenacity is associated with the closing. That how aggressively can you speak to the customer and ensure a good closing. The fact is, the most powerful step and the most important step in your entire sales funnel, ladies and gentlemen, is prospecting. So P stands for prospecting, and I'm going to demonstrate this to you. CR is conversion ratio, which equals to sales. Pretty simple to understand. How many prospects you have multiplied by the conversion ratio you enjoy will give you your sales revenue. Now, when I said that prospecting is the most important, I'm sure a lot of you might not have agreed. Fair enough. Let's see if what I'm saying is true. Let's take an example. Suppose you had 10 prospects. There are 10 people who you approach and you have a 33% conversion ratio. What is your sale going to be? 3. Correct? Now, typical sales mindsets are that, okay, if I manage to increase my conversion ratio, my sales will increase. Absolutely correct. Of course they will. But is that the best route or the only route? Is there a better route? Let us look at a salesperson who actually focuses on having more prospects. And trust me, there is no dearth of prospects in the market today, especially in a country like India. And maintains the same 33% ratio. What is the sale figure? You see the difference? It is 50% higher than somebody who's focusing on conversion. Moral of the story, you need to prospect with a purpose. Now, please assess for yourself as a business owner, what is the effort you are putting in finding out your prospective customer. Do you have a prospecting list? Please answer this question, not for me, but for yourself, that, okay, this is my business, this is my product, this is my service. Have I got a list of prospective customers? If I don't, do I do it sporadically? Do I do it as and when I feel the need? So there are businesses which have no prospecting. There are businesses which indulge in episodic prospecting. And then there are businesses who indulge in systematic prospecting, where prospecting becomes a way of life. So my point is, be honest, look at your business, see what you are doing. Even if you are into systematic prospecting, does not mean that's the end of the road. Like I said, you have to keep qualifying and keep refining that quality of prospecting so that your sales funnel becomes more and more effective. Now, for those of you who don't really know what exactly is to be done at the sales funnel stage, you might know it, but this might serve as a good refresher. And I'm going to take a very simple example for you to understand what is to be done at each stage. So the first stage is called prospecting, which is to create a list of probable customers segment wise. So I'm not just talking of a list of Adobe list of customers. No. And this is where the B2C element also comes in. So please, the B2C customers who probably have showrooms or they have restaurants, does not mean that the sales funnel doesn't apply to you. It applies to you, but in a different manner. What are the kind of segments that you need to target? Have you identified that? So if I'm selling this phone today, although it might be a phone and I might have a set of customers, probable customers, but for this phone there are going to be 3 segments that I can actually attack, and for each segment I should have a separate prospecting list, and for each segment I should track my sales funnel separately. Second, once you have done the prospecting, second you do is the qualifying, which means which customers do you need to address first? Which are your lowest hanging fruits? Not all segments are created equal. Not all customers are created equal, which is why you need to qualify the prospects. Who do you need to attack first? Who can you address first? Who's the most likely to buy? These are steps you need to do before you approach the customer. And which is why I'm giving you a seemingly, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying to be sexist here, but this is an example which probably helps you correlate best to what each stage is. Third is the meeting stage. Now that you have identified which is the most probable or likely customers, you take your effort and you line up a meeting, meet the customers, understand their needs, and present the solution. This is where that solution mindset comes in rather than talking about products and features. This is the time when you will either get the deal or lose the deal. That's why that mindset is something I shared with you earlier before sharing these steps. Then we come to negotiating. Once customer has evinced interest in your product, finalize the nitty-gritties of the deal, including commercials. I would like to emphasize here that a majority of business owners tend to feel this is the most important stage. Trust me, it's not. It is a myth that a customer buys for price. Customers don't buy for price, customers buy for value. So your goal should be, how can I demonstrate the value of my product or service to the prospective client in a manner that by the time we reach negotiation stage, they have clearly, settled on a price that you are also going to be comfortable with. Negotiation is not about, somebody winning and somebody losing. The best negotiation is when there is a win-win. The goal has to be a win-win. Customer should believe they got a great deal, and the seller or the business owner also should believe they got a very good price. And finally, closing the sale. No sale should ever be considered done till the payment or confirmation is secured. I'm sure everybody who's doing sales will know that do not go by what customer says, okay, I'm going to buy. Please ensure you secure the sale till you consider it closed. And this is what I said, this is where most organizations, once the customer is in, your focus is lost. Please understand that just like the example I shared with you, where from the beginning of looking for a partner till the closure, which is marriage in this case, once marriage happens, you start taking your partner for granted. And once the sale is closed, you start taking your customer for granted. My sincere request, do not make that mistake. And that's exactly why I explained the process of structured farming to you, which means you cannot retain your customer if you're not going to be focusing on what they need. So this is not the end, it is just the beginning. But this is a process that you need to follow to ensure you are hunting well. Now, why did I share all these steps with you? I don't know how many of you can actually put up your hands and say that you are following what I am sharing with you. That are you actually selling in 3 time horizons, which means the first time horizon, closing your current opportunities, which means what? That you are actually in closing stage with say 5 clients. Then you are at negotiation stage with 2 clients, and then you are at prospecting stage with 100 clients. This is exactly, see, if you, especially if you're in the B2B business or even if you're in the B2C business, you cannot actually just focus on what your current deal is. You cannot live by the day, as the saying goes in business. You need to look ahead and plan. So if you want to have good revenues, say in the month of October, you should have worked for them in the month of June. And if you want to have a good revenue in December, you need to work on them today. Build tomorrow's business today, build your pipeline, and also close your current opportunities. As business owners, you cannot simply focus on, ki chalo, abhi a customer aaya hai negotiation table pe, I will only focus on this customer. That's never going to be enough. Then you will always be in a situation where you cannot predict your business. See, but when you are able to build a pipeline and you have a conversion ratio, you're tracking your sales funnel, you are going to be in a position to actually forecast your sale. That in April, my tentative sale from hunting will be so much and from farming will be so much. I would want each of you to actually reach that stage. Which is what my next point is, effective goal setting. How can we do effective goal setting? This is probably a culmination of what I have shared with you so far. And this is what I would want you to take away. The first step to delivering sales growth is to target sales growth. There were a few of you who said that you do not have sales targets. So please first start setting your targets, but don't set your targets like most business owners I have seen do. Just take a random figure in mind, which is more of an ambition, a dream, not really a target. Do you have a budget? And by budget, I don't just mean, typically we associate budget only with costs. Okay, these are going to be my costs for the year. But do you have a revenue budget? A revenue budget means that, okay, this is the kind of revenue I think I will be able to build. And for getting that revenue, you will need to budget a cost as well. So for example, if I am into a B2B business and I'm selling mobile phones and I forecast that I will be able to acquire say 100 customers by following the hunting process. To acquire those 100 customers, I will need 2 salespeople as an investment. So at the beginning of the year, I budget that, okay, I will need to sell those 100 mobile handsets, for which I will have to invest in 2 people who I will make them work and become productive by utilizing this process. Target setting needs to be done annually and then broken down into quarter, month, week, and day, depending upon the industry you are in. But I cannot overemphasize the importance of setting targets. I mean, when I speak to a lot of business owners, they say, sir, हम इतना बड़ा company थोड़ी, हमारा तो 10-12 करोड़ का turnover है, 100-200 करोड़ का turnover होगा तब target setting करेंगे. Absolutely not. Please stop thinking like a small business owner. My only suggestion that I always give to business owners is stop thinking like a small business owner. If you want to become a big business, you cannot think like a small business. This is absolutely applicable to the smallest of the businesses as well. Now, a very important point. If target setting is so important, how can we do it well? Typically, I have seen majority of the companies that even that set targets are doing it only on the basis of their last year's performance. Again, the same client was into channel management. My first question was, okay, how is your target looking in this situation of Corona? He said, sir, 5-7% ka last year se degrowth ho jayega. So I said, okay, but otherwise, what was your target? It was 15% above last year. So I was a little baffled. This man deals with 15 product lines and has got 150 products. He's an all India player. And the only thing that he was able to tell me for his target setting was that my target is based on my last year's performance. That is a very myopic way to look at target setting. Yes, it is a good indicator, but it is certainly not enough. What else can you look at? Please assess how your industry is growing versus your growth. There are certain indicators that you can get depending upon the industry you are in, but it is important for you to keep a tab on industry growth versus your business growth. Next, do a potential analysis of the product market or the client. This is extremely important. So it's not just about what you're doing, it is also about what you're doing against what is possible. So if I am doing a sale of 1 lakh in a city like Pune versus 1 lakh in a city like Kolhapur, are those two numbers the same? I may be doing reasonably well for Kolhapur, but I may be doing dismally for Pune. So numbers alone can be very misleading. You need to do a potential analysis that ye product ka, ye market mein, ye client base ke saath, what is the potential? Next point, and this is something again something that gets missed, is to separate your sales into hunting target and farming target. नहीं तो ये सब जो मैंने आपको बताया उसका कोई फायदा ही नहीं होगा. Do not just look at one sales figure and don't take a target. Allow the target to evolve. Please do this exercise. That okay, hunting से मेरे कौन-कौन से segments हैं, मेरे कौन-कौन से markets हैं, मेरे कौन-कौन से customers हैं. Farming से RRR retain revenue और reference से मेरा कितना business grow हो सकता है. Similarly, hunting से मेरा कितना business grow सकता है. And then allow this and then see what the sales target is coming up to. See, there is no point taking an overambitious target which is not realistic. At the same time, there is no point taking a target which is far below of what is possible to do for you. Do not punch either above or below your weight. Try and do what your potential is. Create a robust incentive structure. For those of you who are working with sales teams, again, a very surprising thing is I've seen some of the largest, some really large organizations with big, huge sales teams working on fixed salary structure. They have no incentives. Or even if they're there, they're dismal, they're very small, they're very petty. That is not how a sales team is supposed to work. See, sales is going to be the rainmaker for your organization. They're supposed to get business and they're supposed to get rewarded for that business. They're not like a back-end person who gets rewarded just for punching in attendance. Please ensure you have inbuilt incentive structures in your sales teams, enough for you to be able to weed out the bad performers. So, if that sales guy doesn't perform, it should not make sense for him to continue in your organization. If they perform, they will get hungrier and hungrier. That indicates that you have built in a very strong incentive system. But limited point, do not keep your sales guys at a very high fixed salary. You need to incorporate a strong variable or an incentive element into it. If you're dealing with multiple products or services, please have a product-wise target. Again, I don't know how many of you deal with multiple products, but if you do, you need to have product-wise. Treat every product or service as a separate profit center for you. And they have capability to become, if you start looking at them like that. That's where that potential analysis point also is very important. Do a product-wise potential analysis for you to understand how much can I get. See, these are sure shot ways which you can extract revenues from your existing set of products, existing set of customers. This is how you will be able to acquire your new customers with a clear sense of direction. Finally, find out your cost of customer acquisition. Once again, a concept that a lot of people believe is not for small and medium enterprises. In fact, it is more relevant to small and medium enterprises if you ask me, because you will realize that despite having a strong, good, healthy margin, you are not spending at all to acquire customers. You actually have a potential where you can invest in sales resources or digital marketing or advertising, which you don't do because you're not, and as a result of that, you're not acquiring customers. And then on the reverse side, there are companies which are disproportionately spending and not realizing that the customers they are acquiring are come at a very high cost, and they are not even able to actually recover the cost from that customer before the customer moves out. So this is a simple 4-step process that I would request each one of you to take back and try and implement in your business. For those of you who would like to read, these are some really good books. Of course, there are many more, but these are the ones that I would personally like to recommend. They will, apart from whatever insights that you are getting from your business, it is, it will always help to get different perspectives on how other people from different industries are actually conducting sale. And as I know, a lot of business owners have lost that habit of reading, are not in touch with books. For those of you who would like to watch movies, all these movies are available either on Netflix or on Amazon Prime. Again, these are just a few of them. My sincere request is that, these are sources of learning, and learning should never stop. Learning is a never ending journey. And what is relevant today, whatever you have heard today, may not be relevant in 6 months. So whatever probably I was saying to my audience 6 months back or before Corona, a lot has changed from what I am saying to you today. So learning is a continuous process. Choose the way you want to learn, but please ensure, my humble request to each one of you is to try and continue this journey of learning. And finally, attending webinars like this is never going to be enough. If you are a business owner, this I'm saying out of personal experience. So, want to know how we at Embark Business Coaching can help you and your teams to help build sales in your DNA? And we are very, consciously use the word building sales in your DNA. How can we ensure that it gets institutionalized in your business as a process, so that you are never in a position that where you can at least, by and large be able to forecast what your revenues are, and you have a, by and large be able to develop a plan to grow your revenues. So this is a number you can remember, and you can schedule a complimentary 45-minute session with me, and we will understand your business together and see what we can do. This is a no holds barred, no conditions apply session that we are asking. This is just to help you take something from this discussion and actually be able to implement in your business. I would really look forward to a lot of you actually lining up this session. I'd really love to interact. I mean, interacting with business owners is by far my favorite thing to do. So I'd love to have a chat with each one of you. And this is the website. This is our website, embarkbusinesscoaching.in. Please do go to the website, share your feedback about what you think about what we are doing. We are a new organization, but we have a collective experience over 3 decades. I have been doing this for over a decade. I've worked with over 100 business owners. And as I said, over all the things that I have done in my career, this is by far the most exciting part. All right. So that is it from me as far as the webinar goes or the discussion goes. And I'd love to answer any questions that you people might have. Oh, sorry, 1 minute. There is just 1 second. There are 11 numbers in the phone number. Akanksha, okay, you put the number.
Yeah, put the number there.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, Venkat.
No, so I was saying that, guys, you could put in the questions in the chat window. That would be most convenient.
Yeah. Feel free. Please ask any questions. No question is unimportant or silly. So even the smallest is yours. Is your session focused on sales? Yes, it was. I'm sure you heard that it was around building your sales. Sorry, coaching session. No. That's a good question. So, as far as coaching goes, we are looking at all the verticals of business. So we believe that just by looking at one vertical, you can never succeed in business. So if I look at only sales, it will not really help. So we look at business strategy. We look at sales, we look at brand and marketing, we look at finance from a strategic perspective, and we look at talent management as well. So we look at all the verticals, we look at business from a 360-degree perspective. And the word may be coaching, just to add to what you're asking, is that our coaching model itself works on an execution focus. See, and Venkat will agree with me, we've worked in corporate where Gyan is abundant. And today also in the market with the webinars and all of that, there are a lot of people who will be able to tell you what, and with no disrespect to anybody. But what I have personally seen from my family business experience and from the people I'm working with, that knowing what to do is never enough. So whatever I shared with you today, yes, you might be able to take back, make notes, but when it gets to execution is where you really need support. And that's where we focus on. That's where we come in. I hope I have answered your question, sir. Thank you. Yes, anybody else? Any question? Anything at all?
I think those numbers that have been taken down, Akanksha should expect some calls later today, tomorrow.
Okay, yeah,
Yes,
we look forward to
definitely.
that. Yes, so yeah, if you have any questions even subsequently, we have a website, you can go there and maybe share your questions or comments or feedback with us. And of course, you can reach out to Akanksha and line up 45-minute sessions where we can have a detailed discussion on your business. So once again, thank you. Thank you so much, Venkatesh, once again for this wonderful opportunity. And I hope this was a Saturday well spent for the audience.
I'm sure it was. As always, wonderful to hear you, Vishal. The authenticity that you project really comes from the mix that we talk about, your own family business and your career. I have got on WhatsApp a lot of feedback saying great session. I'm really confident that people will reach out to you. At least take those 45 minutes to understand how you could support their business. These are interesting times. The quote was fantastic. Never let go, of a crisis as an opportunity to learn from it and go beyond it. And your 3R model is, I think, very, very fundamental to any business, young or old, to find new customers, to retain them, to get references from them, and then keep growing them is really the mantra. So, Vishal, thanks once again. Akanksha, thank you.
Thank you, Venkatesh.
Okay, somebody's asked for the number. The number is here. That's 77380 90293, Nikhil. Please make a note of this number.
Yeah, I think we share it again. So you can keep this number. And yeah, worst case, if you still forget the number and forget the website, Venkat is always there. He can put you on to us.
He'll be sure. Thank you again, both. Thank you, and thank you to the audience for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.